Good evening, my Roslins and Rosikins. Mother is back, and I want to talk about the Mother I Am a Rich Man series and minimalism. So, I realized that in our culture today, there's a lot of overconsumption, meaning that we buy things that we want but don't need. And we overbuy them because we buy so many of things that are really just useless products and clothing that either sits in our closet or that we just literally have too much of, and we never are satisfied with what we purchase, and therefore we end up over consuming and wasting our precious money that we could have traded for our time back, through investments, savings, etc., and for a better financial stable foundation. So Mother is embracing minimalism. Minimalism is when you mostly purchase what you need. You have a few, wants and desires that you have and purchase, but it's never to the point where you have like 30 shirts that like 20 of them you don't even use, right? Or like 20 pairs of pants when you literally barely have time to even wear five of them. It's prioritizing and capitalizing on what you already have and making use of it till it's literally worn down and you have to replace it, you know? So, Mother wants to say that there's nothing wrong, my Roslins, with embracing minimalism. There's nothing wrong with only prioritizing things that you know will bring you joy, like memories, experiences, traveling, things like that, versus having a whole bunch of junk in your house for what? There's nothing wrong with not trying to eat out every day or even every weekend. There's nothing wrong with living a simple, quiet life and having that financial security and understanding that things can bring you joy, but an overconsumption of things does not. And having a limit. For example, I love Five Nights at Freddy's and I love Poppy's Playtime. I already have some Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novels that I have, and I was thinking about buying like these like stuffed animals of Courage the Cowardly Dog because I love him too, and a Circus Baby and Catnap from Poppy Playtime. But I was just like, do I really need it? I want to prioritize what I need right now. What's going to help me on my glow up journey? Granted, it's nothing wrong with decorating your room, which I'm already having things in my cart to redecorate when I go back, but my thing is like I don't want to overbuy on things that I'll be satisfied with for like a week or two, but then I'll just be like, oh, just extra crap at that end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So me, I'm thinking about prioritizing going to the movies when I get back and seeing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and then seeing Megan 2 as well. So, and that's around fall time, end of summer, right? And I want to do that because Mother usually doesn't go out, and I think I've talked about this before. I usually just stay in my room and chill. But I want to have certain experiences with myself and for myself because those are things I'm willing to invest the time and make memories of seeing, versus me buying like 1,000 watches or something, right? Or going to Starbucks every day. That's not my thing. And minimalism is also prioritizing what your thing is. For some people, it's the traveling that they love. They'll splurge on that. For some people, it's their wardrobe. For others, it's their, I guess you could say, like things that bring them joy, like their hobbies. So maybe they really, really love Five Nights at Freddy's and they're a collector, right? But they understand that they could also flip those products over time and make more money because they become like vintage and rare. So things like that, right? You have a plan for your money. You have a plan for the things that you have in your life. They have a purpose. They're not just there to be there because you thought it was cute. They're there because you thought that it was something that you would like to add to your arsenal and that you find great joy out of, but you understand you don't need 1,000 of them to be happy, and that, your happiness ultimately doesn't lie in that thing. It's more the fact that you're just fond of it. So it's just understanding the difference between a need and a want and being honest with yourself and helping yourself to have that discipline to be financially successful and to not bear, overindulge. It's about also discipline. Being a minimalist means you're very disciplined, I believe, because you're going against the average mindset of the average American person and the average person in the world, but especially American person, because Americans we really overindulge. We really do as a country, as a nation. We take a lot of things for granted. We feel like we need a lot. And that's one thing I'm learning from this deployment as well. You don't need much to be happy. You don't need a lot of things needs to be beautiful either. You just need you and the things in life that bring you that joy, whether it's the relationships you have, the mindsets, the hobbies, the beliefs, right? And there's nothing wrong with things, but it's one thing to have a couple things, it's another to overindulge in things and it become a vice. So, Mother just wants to encourage you that you should look into minimalism because I believe that this is the way the world is going, especially as Americans, especially Gen Z, because I'm a Gen Zer. And you have to understand that, yeah, everything is so expensive. We're all being kind of forced to look into minimalism at this point, to be quite honest. But there's nothing wrong, there's always a blessing in things that are bad, right? The blessing of everything being so expensive is that it's making us all take a step back and realize what truly matters in our lives and like on this journey of like creating wealth and being happy and being free. It's making us really think about the fact that, you cannot over consume your way into happiness. You just really can't because you're going to either have credit card debt, you're either going to have like nothing saved up, you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck because you overconsume. And like you're either going to just have a year where, or actually a life where you're always counting check to check. I also want to talk about the fact that minimalism, I feel like it forces you to be more creative too. And I'm a very creative person naturally. And so I find it really cool when you think about it that you could literally like make something out of nothing and like improvise a lot if you're into improvisation and you just make it up as you go. And you make and cultivate a lifestyle that's conducive to you. Also, I've been seeing the trends of the no buy year, no buy or no spend 2025, because people are broke and they're like over this, they're over the struggle, they're like over everything. And I could agree because I'm doing a no buy year basically too. Like this whole year is just going to be stacking up my Roth, TSP, IRA, savings accounts, brokerage accounts, etc., beauty funds, emergency funds, savings funds. So you should look into that too. I promise you, my Roslins and Rosikins, that you will be happier, healthier, wealthier when you realize that a lot of things you thought you needed, you don't, and that you have the power to cultivate your beauty, your lifestyle, your riches on your own terms and live life how you want to because you have no one to impress except yourself. You don't owe anybody an aesthetic, you don't owe anybody your beauty, but you do owe yourself your freedom. And, as Mother, I strongly concur with that notion. And with that, Mother is going to say, ciao.